Hello, this is Caitlin Rule, and I am here to talk about Module 6, Communicating and Advocating for School and Community Needs. So the schools that I chose when I dove in to find their policies referring to cultural diversity or multiculturalism were Auburn Washburn, Fort Riley, Topeka Public Schools, Wichita Public Schools, and Mays. So the reason I chose these different schools were the first two are the ones that I have taught at. I am currently teaching at number 1, Auburn Washburn. And then number 3, Topeka Public Schools, is also near where I teach. And so I kind of wanted to see the differences in schools that are really close together, but maybe what the policy differences could be. I am also originally from Wichita, so that's why I picked Wichita Public Schools. And I also chose Mays because that is where I went to school growing up. So I kind of chose schools that were familiar to me, and some of them are pretty close together, but I wanted to see the differences in the policies that they have at those schools. So I'll start off with the school that I'm currently teaching at right now, and that's Auburn Washburn School District. Now this school district is in Topeka and a little bit of outside of Topeka, so it's a little mix of both. How did they state their policies? These policies are available to all family members and staff on the USD 437 website. How do they address specific diverse groups? As I looked through these policies, really I found that they address diversity such as race, color, religion, sex, age, disability, or national origin within the school community. So when they addressed these different diverse cultures, it really only talked about discriminatory conduct and how disciplinary action will take place for all employees and staff. I also found that they talked about ESL parents will be provided information in a language that they understand with anything that has to do with the district or with education in school. So how do they provide information or provide training for faculty and staff? So within this policy, I really couldn't find any explanation on how they provide training for faculty and staff other than administering the Title I program evaluation. It talked about training through there, but that's really the only training I could find. So the reason for this, I thought maybe just lack of awareness or maybe just lack of education from the school board on different training that maybe the schools might need for their staff. As I looked at USD 475, which is Fort Riley, the Geary County School, so this was the school that I taught at previously before Auburn Washburn. This school is located on base at Fort Riley, which is about 20 minutes outside of Manhattan, if you're familiar with that area. And I found it to be extremely similar to the school I teach at right now for Auburn Washburn. You can find the policies also on their website. It also addresses diversity such as race, color, religion, sex, age, disability, or national origin with the school and community. Kind of has the same, it talked about discrimination and that ESL parents will be provided with information in a language that they understand. Again, I could not find any information regarding training for faculty and staff that has to do with different culture or multiculturalism in this policy, and so I think maybe it's the same, just lack of awareness and lack of education. For Topeka Public Schools, I did find a lot of similarities again. I did find a little bit of differences. They did talk a little bit more on multiculturalism, and they also address diversity such as race, color, national origin, gender, disability, religion, and socioeconomic background. So they kind of defined it a little bit different. They also stated that multicultural approaches shall be incorporated into educational program, including approaches and materials that foster knowledge of and respect for historical contemporary contributions of diverse cultural groups, including those based on race, color, national origin, gender, disability, religion, and socioeconomic background. So that's kind of how I found how they address their diverse groups. I also found throughout the policies that they give ESL parents, they provide them with information in the languages that they need. So again, I didn't find any training through their policies and how they provide that training to faculty and staff. So kind of about the same in the last three. Okay, so I was very impressed with Wichita Public Schools policies. This was probably the only school that I could really find something new, I guess, in their policies. So you can also find their policies in the same way, available to all families and staff. So how they address specific diverse groups. Wichita Public Schools recognizes all facets of diversity, including, but not limited to, race, ethnicity, culture, age, gender, sexual orientation, language, socioeconomic status, religion, disability, skill level, and life experience. So you can already tell a difference there. They're able to recognize a few more different kind of diverse groups. So I put this in here. I found this in their policies, and I found it interesting how they define cultural proficiency. So that's why I put that in my presentation. It says cultural proficiency is defined as a way of being that enables both individuals and organizations to respond effectively to people who differ from them. The Wichita Public Schools is home to diverse staff and students. Individual classrooms as well as and non-attendance centers reflect this diversity. It is the responsibility of school staff and district personnel to model appropriate behaviors so that children and adults learn to appreciate the differences and similarities of the diverse backgrounds represented in the Wichita Public Schools to ensure equitable treatment for all. So after reading that, I was very impressed, and I knew, okay, if they are saying that staff and district personnel are supposed to model the behavior, there has to be training that has to do with this behavior that they would like modeled. And I was right. I found quite a few different information on the training that they have. So apparently the Board of Education in Wichita Public Schools adopted a plan for cultural proficiency in the Wichita Public Schools and a work statement that includes a commitment to provide a coherent, rigorous, and safe and nurturing, culturally responsive, and inclusive learning community for all of its students. So with them adopting these plans, you know that there is going to be training involved. So it says that there is different trainings responsible for implementing the plan that they have adopted. So all district staff is required to participate in ongoing professional development. All new staff will participate in cultural proficiency, professional development through new staff orientation the first year. Building principals and building leadership teams attend ongoing professional development regarding cultural proficiency. And the principals and building leader teams shall be responsible for providing cultural proficiency, professional development to their respective staff. So they start at the top and train all the way down to staff so that everyone can set an example. I found Wichita Public Schools to be very impressive with their board policies. And then I went to USD 266 Mays, so this is where I went to school growing up, and I kind of found that it was the same as the last three schools that I talked about before, Wichita Public Schools. It defines or addresses diversity such as race, color, religion, sex, age, disability, and national origin within the school community. And they talked about the board feels the curriculum and methods of instruction should develop in each child a sense of his or her personal opportunities and responsibilities as a citizen of his or her community, state, nation, and the world. So they kind of talked about not just students in this community, but the state, nation, and world. They also talked about discrimination and how ESL parents will be provided with information in a language that they need to understand. I, again, couldn't find any training throughout these board policies. So I found 5 main reasons throughout the research that really stood out to me on the importance of providing training to faculty staff on how to successfully communicate with families in diverse backgrounds. So The reasons we would do this is to create relationships, to build trust, to build respect, to increase student achievement, and encourage family engagement. So diving into those a little bit more, finding the benefits of the training. So for creating relationships, the efforts can change attitudes and improve the comfort levels of parents and guardians as we continue to engage them in the classroom. So when parents and guardians feel comfortable and confident, then they're more prone to want to be involved. When we make an effort to reach out to families in daily interactions, we're doing more than participating in small talk. We're establishing trust. When we encourage two-way communication, we demonstrate our concern and value for their input. So we're creating that trust to be able to talk back and forth, to be able to help them to know that they can bring in their culture, they can bring in their language. We trust them and they trust that we will find a way to do what's best for their child. Positive communication and relationships with families build trust, so make sure we're staying positive with them. So when families do feel welcome at a district meeting or in their children's school, they're more likely to participate and reach out to teachers and other educators to find out how they can support their student. And when families are involved in learning, the research shows that students achieve more regardless of socioeconomic status or their ethnic, racial background, or even the parent's educational level. So when we take initiative to take on a partnership orientation with parents, they're more prone to want to be involved and their family engagement will flourish. Families have traditionally supported their children's learning through different things like playing, doing chores, and exploring their communities together. So we can help them establish different routines, daily routines, reading routines, routines that we could use in the classroom. We can help them to do that at home as well. So different techniques and methods. There were a ton in research, so I tried to just narrow it down to some that maybe we could use in our board policy trainings, just to help with new teachers and teachers that might just need a new look on different culture, bringing culture in. So we could begin the year with a take-home questionnaire. Ask families their preferred language that they would like for communication. Get to know families through back-to-school night building activities. Communicate regularly with a variety of methods. So these methods could be emails, text messages, robocalls, video messages, newsletters, social media posts, and so on. I know different cultures look at titles, so using different forms of greetings and using titles that may be preferred, so male and female roles to find within various cultures. Nonverbal communication and body language are important as well to consider. So when someone also speaks a different language, it's important to speak slowly so that they have time to really process what you're saying. To target specific families, to provide linguistic and cultural diverse families with information that they can use, to learn the central figures, to be supportive. So effective cross-cultural communication is about all parties feeling comfortable, not just about one. I found a lot of different technologies that are used. I know that Class Dojo is something that I use personally. There's Spotlight, Remind, Seesaw. I also heard of Talking Points, which is a multilingual family engagement platform. And I found that data shows that using these different platforms that you're able to use different languages with can really increase student grades, assignments, class absences, and just reaching those parents and making them feel comfortable that they can talk to you and you can talk to them about their child and how to help them be the most successful that they can be. Here are some of my references, and here are the rest. Thank you.